Hey y'all, my name is Gregory Agid, and today I wanted to share some of my thoughts about improvisation and how you can begin your journey into improvising within the jazz idiom. In this video, I wanted to share some of my thoughts about improvisation and the similarities between improvising and language. It's important to emphasize that there are many traditions of improvisation, and today I wanted to speak on jazz improvisation. So, first of all, let's talk about what improvisation is not. So, improvisation is not the act of just making shit up. I think a lot of audience members and maybe younger musicians have this idea that when you're soloing or improvising, you're just making things up. I think that that's a half truth. Improvisation is spontaneous and it is something that happens in the moment. And oftentimes you will see musicians interacting with each other, and that is something that is spontaneously happening. However, it's much more complex than just making things up. Improvising is an art. Improvising does have a tradition. And I believe that it's important for everyone to understand that it's more complex than just playing what you feel or making things up. So, what is improvisation? One of my favorite definitions is improvisation is the act of spontaneous composition. What is composition? A composer is someone who creates a piece of music. And the composer can create this piece of music over minutes, hours, days, weeks, years, a lifetime. And ultimately, the composer has the ability to work and perfect this composition. And when they're ready, they'll hand it to a performer. Then the piece will be performed. An improviser is going through that same exact process, except it's happening in the moment. One of the biggest differences between composition and improvisation is that an improviser is composing in the moment, and we don't have the ability to edit our solos. What you play is what you play, and if you make a mistake, you got to live with it, and hopefully, also fortunately, it's gone with the wind, right? So I've heard a lot of people refer to jazz as a language, and I think that there are a lot of similarities between language and jazz music. So let's talk about how I learned how to speak English and try and parallel that to the improvisation process or learning how to play music. So when I was born, I did not have the ability to speak English. I spent the first year of my life doing nothing but listening and absorbing as much information as possible. I was listening to my parents speak. I was listening to all the people around me and just inputting as much information as possible. After about a year, I started imitating. I would make sounds like ma, da, and just trying things out. That would be the equivalent to getting your first instrument, learning how to make long tones, or even just seeing what the instrument is called. After that, maybe I would be able to put together some short words like mom, dad, food. That would be the equivalent of learning the note names or being able to make a sound on your instrument. After that point, you're putting together simple phrases like, I want to go to the park, I'm hungry. As a young child, you spend a lot of time communicating with your parents. You'll spend a lot of time communicating with your peers. You also go to school and then you learn more about the language. You're in English class, learning how to read, learning how to write. You're also learning the rules and the grammar of the English language. So all of that would be equivalent to going to take private lessons with a teacher. You're learning about music theory. You're learning about the history of your instrument. And that process goes on until, high school, college, and ultimately forever. Just in the same way that I'm using the English language to convey thoughts, feelings, and emotions, improvisation is the same act. We're using a language to convey thoughts, feelings, and emotions. I think it's really important to also emphasize the fact that when I'm speaking English, I'm not necessarily making words up. I'm taking a set vocabulary and I'm rearranging the words to fit the moment. And ultimately, just by doing this video, I am improvising. I'm simply taking a vocabulary that I know and reusing it spontaneously in the moment to convey my thoughts. Everyone has a different vocabulary. Some people have smaller vocabularies, and some people can use very complex words. And the same thing exists in improvising in any idiom. Some people can use very simple phrases, while others can actually express some very complex, abstract ideas. Take a famous author like William Shakespeare or James Baldwin. These people are not necessarily revered because they're making words up, but they're more looked up to because of their use of the language, how they arrange the words in a very special and unique way. That goes back to my point of improvisation. We're not necessarily making words up or vocabulary up. We're simply rearranging musical phrases in a unique way to me. If I play the same phrase as someone else, it's always going to be unique because I have a different life experience. I have a different tone on my instrument. I have a different way of playing. So all of those things contribute to a unique sound. Ultimately, when you become very familiar with your vocabulary, you can be on the bandstand with musicians and react and respond just like a conversation with a friend. When you're talking to a friend, you're not necessarily thinking about how am I going to communicate this idea? You just kind of act in the moment and respond. And that's ultimately the type of fluency you would like to achieve as an improviser on your instrument. So if you all are looking to start your journey into jazz improvisation, I would recommend, first off, that you listen to as much music as possible. Find a great teacher. That person can help you on your journey. Take classes. Try and learn as much information as possible. YouTube is a great resource. Music school is a great resource. Find a peer group of musicians that are also looking to achieve the same goal as you. You all are going to inspire each other. You all are going to bounce ideas back and forth and ultimately going to help each other get better at this music. Take as many chances. Play with musicians who are better than you. If you make a mistake, it's all good. Mistakes are really helpful because they will help you get better faster. And when you make a mistake, learn from it. Don't make it again. And if you happen to play something really killing, keep it. Remember what you played and use it again. I hope that this video explains some of my thoughts on improvisation, and I hope it helps clarify what you're trying to achieve on your journey. Please leave a comment below if you have any questions, and I hope that this video helps. And y'all have a wonderful night, and I'll catch y'all later. Peace.